Here we are at 1411 North Street, and we're continuing to work on the project. We're in about week 4 now, and you'll see the chimney starting to rise up over the roof deck up there. And what the process involved was pulling all the loose brick down below the roof deck line so that the carpenters could get in and assess the damage. Once we were able to stabilize the chimney, which had been knocked down by a tree from a storm last year, we were able to actually start the rebuild. So the first several courses that come out of the roof deck will require us to install what we call a riglet, and that's a cut into brick that allows the flashing materials to be inserted to drape down over the roof deck. What you'll see in the chimney work is that chimney will continue to rise skyward and eventually match the other Queen Anne style chimneys that are on this particular property. Now, while this was happening, the crews have been inside very busy doing the demolition of the interior wall sections, getting ready for the next step of the project.
Other activities that are going on in the exterior, of course, are painting and prepping for paint. One of the big discussion items was, should we change the color of the house from its pink or salmon color to white? The thing that drove that decision was the historic color going back to the time the house was built by the Lennox, where it was white. More recently, in the 90s, it was painted pink, and it's become known around the community as the pink house. So there's a lot of nostalgia associated with that pink color. But ultimately, we bit the bullet and decided that white was the more appropriate way to go. So what you're seeing right now is the very, very first coat of primer. A lot of scraping and sanding and all went into that initial prep. Then we sprayed 1 coat of primer to make sure the grain on the shingles doesn't raise up. What needs to happen next is Mike's got and his crews have to do carpentry and repair cornices and rotted wood, and we'll get ready for the 2nd coat of primer. We're going to apply 2 coats of primer on this house and then 2 coats of finish color. We're standing in the front parlor of this home, and I'm standing in the doorway of what would have likely have been a 2nd parlor. This home, built when it was built, bridged between late Victorian period and the early 20th century architecture, which gradually went into neocolonialism and a lot of other styles. So late Victorian or any Victorian home would have typically have had 2 parlors. One would have been a his and one would have been a hers. And separating the 2 parlors would have been these wonderful pocket doors that are very tall, very monumental. So we were trying to find the opportunity to create a guest bedroom on the 1st floor. I think having a 1st floor bedroom is very important in modern design. And the 2nd parlor became the place to do that. The problem are these doors. We didn't want to cover the doors up. And initially we had conceived of an idea of where we might cover them over on one side but expose them in the front parlor. Ultimately, however, we've decided to keep the doors in place from both sides and visible from both sides. And that we flipped the head wall of the bed. And so I think that's a wonderful choice. So we can now swing these doors open if we ever choose, or they'll more typically be closed as we put bedroom furniture in here. But good preservation technique is to try to hang on to as much as you can of what's there in the existing function. Now, in the course of uncovering things too, we have mentioned this before, but we found other opportunities and constraints. We were struggling to find a place to put a half bath. Very close to the front entryway was a closet. We thought we could possibly sneak one in there, very, very tight. Mike ultimately convinced us that the best place for the half bath was probably underneath the 2nd staircase, the servants' stair. We had just a tiny bit more room in there, and interestingly, that space was originally finished out as a closet that became covered over. We know that because of the lath inside that space allowed us to determine it was once plastered. You wouldn't have plastered the space unless it was a closet. It even has a radiused top, which we're going to hang on to and make part of the powder room or bath feature. One of the things that occurs during preservation is you run into a surprise, lots of surprises, and all of them are pleasant. We have a lot of rotted wood on this porch We knew the ceiling, the beadboard ceiling, needed some repair and replacement, but we didn't realize that the Queen Anne arches and some of the structure around the porch was in such bad shape. So we've exposed that. Mike has spent the past week replacing all the rotted wood and trying to get the superstructure back in shape so we can go back with finished materials. But obviously a lot of damage here and a lot of stuff that did require replacement. Glad we found it, glad we can replace it. But the Queen Anne arches, I think, are one of the things that gives this house its distinctive character, and they rise down and meet these really nifty little columns that have these ionic capitals on them. And one of the cool things about the ionic capitals even is that the scrolls are turned at a 45-degree angle. The Ionic order, as these columns would have been called, was one of the three classic orders in classic Greece, the other two being the Doric order and the Corinthian order. So this is the Ionic order, and those kind of embellishments were often used in this period of architecture.